In the woods where the tall trees sway, Rich Dangu Park used his motor home, ready to play. With his paintbrush in his hand and his heart so free, he found inspiration in nature's harmony. Inside his humble abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, pressing all his strive with the spirits of the woods. He dances in the light, creating masterpieces every single night. Although he's living off the grid, he doesn't mind. With his art fueling his soul, his happiness he finds, surrounded by the peace, the birds and the breeze. His motor home in the woods where creativity sees.
Hey, check this out. It's my John Robert Lewis t-shirt, Good Trouble. This was actually, like it's got the pocket right here. This was actually an experimental shirt. In fact, look, the collar's all fucked up. Well, welcome back. Travels with Carl, episode number 7. I'm not wearing this t-shirt for any particular reason regarding John Robert Lewis, although, I mean, it's one of my favorite shirts. I had to wear it eventually, but it is kind of fitting, I guess, because they referred to him as the conscience of Congress. He served in the U.S. Congress for 33 years continuously. He was born in Troy, Alabama, and when he was 15 years old, he walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge into Selma, Alabama, and was beaten, had his skull fractured. It's the idea of somebody laying their hands on that man just makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I like to imagine if I'd have been there, what I would have done. You know, I've tangled with the cops before. It's never good. Got beaten by the Philadelphia police once. I'll never forget that. Anyway, I'll save that for another story. But I was wearing this shirt today. As I put it on, I was thinking about how fucked up our Congress is, man. Congress and Senate. I guess the country's about to be shut down. And again, I can't help it. I can't say that this is not going to be political, because I'm political. Travels with Carl, though, we are going to focus on art and travel and Carl and me. And we're going to talk about Portugal, talk about growing cherries. I'm going to put an offer in on a piece of land today or tomorrow. And it's got a granite stone ruin on it. It's going to be a kick-ass cherry farm. It's a little under a hectare. It's about 2.5, 3 acres, something like that. Half of it's wooded, half of it's already cleared and terraced. And the wooded part, I don't know, I shouldn't jinx myself, but I'm not going to post a link to it or anything. But the woods on the forest part of this land used to grow olives and grapes, and I have a strong feeling that it's terraced also, but the woods are so thick now that they couldn't even go inside. Like, they're like, nah, we're not even gonna try and go inside there and walk it, but I'm gonna take a big chainsaw and just start clearing out all the shit that doesn't belong there, mostly invasive species, mimosas, eucalyptus, and thin it down and leave the good trees. If I find any olives, they're staying. Any fruit trees are staying. Probably the pine trees will stay. Of course, cork oak trees, it's illegal to cut them down in Portugal. Not that I would. They're beautiful trees, and that's where corks come from, in case you didn't know. they cut the bark every 8 to 9 to 10 years, and it grows back, believe it or not. Normally that's a death sentence for most trees. But the cork seemed to take it in stride. Anyway, you know what day it is. It's Travels with Carl Day. And yeah, I wanted to say a little something about John Robert Lewis. He was one of the original of the Big Six. And it was that Bloody Sunday in 1965 that many people remember if they were alive then. And of course there's video footage of it, but yeah, they were walking across the bridge to for voters' rights, believe it or not. That's 60 years ago, right? So I was 7 at the time, and John Robert Lewis would have been, well, he was 15. Huh. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, I was 3. Sorry, I was 3 at the time. That didn't seem right, because he was 17 years older than me. He died in 2020, sorry. And while I was in grad school, hence the shirts. And I did some other really nice prints of him. But yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about how fucked up our government is, and will we be able to bring it back, from this? I mean, the trumpet's only got 2 years left to blow his horn, and in my opinion, he's not going to leave the White House voluntarily, but I think that's going to be a bridge too far for him. I think even the crazy people that stormed the Capitol will be like, wait a second, you can't be president 3 times. But, look what Putin's done. Anything's possible, and that if this has taught me anything, it is that. But I just want to say hi to my friends, Joseph and Andre, and their families over in Portugal. My friend Kristen Wilson, Travels with Kristen. And of course to my sister, who's off to Ohio, and my #1 fan, Cynthia. I know you're out there. Anyway, okay, today we're going to talk about job number 7. Let me see if I can read this shit, right? Oh, wait. What's that? Time for a commercial interrupt? Okay, sorry. This episode is brought to you by Amendment 21-A, a book about ending prohibition by Richard Van Gogh, published in 2017. This book talks in great detail about how we should and can end the war on drugs, illustrated by the famous artist Richard Van Gogh, with 9 paintings, 8 short stories authored by Richard Van Gogh, and an introduction also by the same writer. Here you go. What if changing one thing could change the world? This is that one thing. Ending the war on drugs will be the single largest and most important change in the law in my lifetime. It will positively change the city you live in, the country you live in, and the world that we all live in. It's hard to even wrap your mind around the changes this will bring about until you read this book. I think about all the unnecessary pain and suffering this war brought to us all, and I'm just glad I was able to stop it. Just say no, stand with Van Gogh against the illegal prohibition. I was watching a thing last night on the Constitution. This woman just wrote a book about the Constitution, because there's the originalists and there's other people that think differently about how the Constitution should be read. I mean, it's an old document, and they didn't have a lot of things that we have today. They didn't have a lot of the same problems we have today. They didn't have near the population. But they were smart enough to realize that the Constitution could be amended. And this book talks about two of those amendments. One of them, Amendment 18, made alcohol illegal in the United States to make or produce or to sell. It was only 14 years when they passed Amendment 21, legalizing alcohol. Now, the interesting thing about that is this is the only time out of all the amendments written for our Constitution. See, there's actually a change in the Constitution here. We're allowed to do that. That was the only time that one amendment was written to get rid of another amendment. So I think there's like 27 amendments or something like that. I'm not sure, because I only care about 18 and 21. But it only took them 14 years to realize, hey, we made a big fucking mistake. And we're still suffering from that today, because Amendment 21-A, what they should have done is they should have legalized all mind-altering substances, because the exact same thing that happened with alcohol happens with all the other drugs, the mind-altering drugs that we're dealing with in the world today. You really want to get a copy of this, because I'm not going to spend a whole half an hour talking about my book today, but I'm going to talk about it on every episode. You can go to Amazon and get this, or you can just send me a check for $20 and I'll mail you a copy. If you want to send me your address, I'll even pay for the postage. Let me just tell you, this is a great book, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. I'm saying that because I've never read or heard anyone go as far as I'm going. Okay, Portugal made all drugs no longer a criminal offense into the year 2000. So 25 years ago. That's how I learned so much about Portugal, was researching this book. But they provide methadone and other drug substitutes that you can get safe. But the only way to really do this right is to put the drugs into the hands of private enterprise, just like we do with beer and wine and spirits. If you want to buy pure cocaine, that should cost you around $5 or $10 a gram. Okay, anybody that really wants to do cocaine, that's a reasonable price for a reasonable amount of cocaine. Okay, if you're snorting more than a gram of cocaine in a day, probably you might want to think about that. Same thing with if you're like, I used to drink a case of beer in a day. I knew there was something fucking wrong with me, but I did that for quite a while. Anyway, I'm 25 years sober now. And so, same thing with heroin. Heroin should cost about $5 or $10 a gram. Okay, and it should be pure heroin, not fentanyl. Fentanyl is not heroin. Okay, it's not even made from opium. It's a completely synthetic pharmaceutical drug used to knock people out for surgeries. Okay, you're not supposed to be using that for a recreational high, and even if you do, it's not the same as heroin. Okay, so heroin, we should be able to pay people for raw opium, fair trade. Same thing with the coca leaves, pay fair trade, produce it in a lab without gasoline and other fucking drain cleaners and solvents and shit that they currently use. Okay, I'm done. That's all I'm saying about that today. So I remember last week I talked about Airco Technical Institute. Okay, when I finished that, they pretty much, you have to really try not to get a job once you become a certified welder back in that time. So here's the iron shop. Okay, now this was in a little place on the way to Philadelphia. I believe it was Upper Darby was the name of the town that I passed through. It wouldn't surprise me if it was still there, because they were really well known for cheap spiral staircases that would come in a kit. So you could cut a hole in the floor of a second floor of your house or barn or wherever you wanted this spiral staircase, and everything there was the landing, the railing, the post that went up the center, and the steps. It was all in this one kit, and it was built by the iron shop. Of course, they also did really high-end, custom-made, beautiful spiral staircases for really wealthy people, but this was a cheap ass kit that anybody could install if they, had the kahunas to cut a hole in their floor or their ceiling, which depending on how you look at it. So one of the things that they did, I'm going to try and read this. Let's see how it goes. One of the things that they did was they gave us a referral, obviously, so that we could get a job. So I'm immediately got hired by this company called the Iron Shop, and was actually just outside of Philly in a suburb or smaller town. Yep, sure enough, named Upper Darby. I love this town because I used to go there to see concerts all through high school at the Tower Theater. Now, I'm not sure if the Tower Theater is still there or not, but I loved the Tower because it would have big names. Like I saw Zappa there a couple times. I love that place. It was small enough that you felt really comfortable, but it was big enough that they could get big names. I saw a lot of people there. I'm like mentally drawing a blank right now, but I saw Zappa there twice, I believe. Anyway, that's the only other thing I knew about Upper Darby. I used to pass through it going into Philly later on when we talk about Philadelphia College of Art, which is what they used to call it. Okay. Anyways, I never heard of this place, but it builds spiral staircases. I was in the only thing they met me, and you could commission fences or gates. That makes no sense. And almost anything you wanted there. Some guys, they're really good metal workers, and they would make beautiful, big custom staircases, big spiral staircases for inside really fancy homes. For a while, I was making these spiral staircase kits that you could just order the whole thing, and they would ship the whole thing to you. It's nothing custom about it. It was like a certain diameter, a certain height that was real generic. It was made out of shitty stand steel. That doesn't make any sense. And that had been bent in a break, or how you could just assemble each step. I had a cylinder collar, and that's what I did. I was welding these cylinder collars onto the step. And then you just slip it over the pole that came with it also, and was in the center of it. It's one of the things I remember that was during the lunchtime. Me and some of the other guys, we used to go out and smoke weed in their car. I think I told you that I didn't drive there, and I'm not sure why I didn't drive there. But the car that I went out and got high in wasn't the same car that I drove there in. It was some other cats that I worked with. Okay, we'd take a sandwich out there and get high and whatever. We brought to work with coolers and just eat in the car. Everybody did something different for lunch, but some of us just went out and got high outside. The other thing that I really remember was the owner of the company was a real dick. And he was really one of those people you just couldn't ever complain to, or he would get super upset. The area I was welding in, this is a true story. I don't have to say that, do I? Every story that I'm telling you is a true story. Okay, the area that I was welding in didn't have any vent hood over it, okay? When you're welding, like especially production welding, and you're welding parts that have oil on them, that oil is burning off when you weld it. So it's like walking behind a car that has an oil leak, okay? And you're breathing in these fumes, okay? So anyway, oh yeah, it's better that I just tell this story than if I read it. I told this guy, you know what? I'd like to get an exhaust hood there because this is fucking killing me. And he put up some grievance about, some grief, some argument about it. I just thought, what's wrong with this guy? He's making a lot of money, man. I mean, there was probably like 40 or 50 people working there. It was a pretty big shop. And anyway, he was just like, how dare this dude ask me for a fucking vent? And so I later threatened to call OSHA. And he said, you know what you need to do? You need to just stand back here and breathe those fumes. That's what the guy actually said to me. And I probably said something like, you know what you need to do? You need to go fuck yourself. I'm sure that's what I said, because I'm pretty sure that was one of those jobs that I just walked out in the middle of the day. Anyway, I complained to them and breathe these fumes and put in an exhaust hoods. But one thing stick is manila. Oh yeah, he used to come around with a little brown manila envelope with cash in it, and he would hand everybody an envelope on payday. And I guess it was like his idea of a bonus or money that you didn't have to report or tell your spouse about or whatever. But it was a little brown envelope, like a little coin envelope with cash in it. Like, I think I would get like $5 or $10 or $15, but I'm sure some of the guys were getting 20s or maybe 100 in there. That was the only cool thing that this dude did. So it was a little under the table cash, because we were supposed to feel like we got a bonus. I don't know what the motivation was, I guess, but whatever. It was like I was already starting to make some cool stuff, and like wind chimes and other things. I forget what else I made there. A couple cool things I made out of scrap metal. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I was probably there less than a year. Not sure how much I was making here, but I think it was about $8 or $9 an hour. And this was 1978. So again, income still rising. Yeah, that was the iron shop. I don't have any fond memories of that place, really, other than, well, I guess I do. It's my first job welding, besides the school. I knew somehow metal sculpture and working with metal was going to take on a whole new dimension, no pun intended, because you can do all kinds of stuff with metal, but until you start welding it together, you're pretty much one-dimensional, you know. Welding makes almost anything possible with metal. And the cool thing is once I learned, like, aluminum, if you've ever worked with aluminum, like, stainless steel is very unforgiving. It warps a lot. Mild steel, which is what these stairs were made out of, I don't know what I wrote in there, but mild steel is great, but it rusts. Stainless doesn't rust, but it's hard to work with. It warps a lot. Okay, aluminum, you could take a piece of aluminum and hammer on it with like a wood mallet and form it in ways like you can with copper. It's a really soft metal, but it's also really strong, and it's really lightweight, not like copper. Copper is not that strong, and it's heavy as fuck. But anyway, you can make beautiful stuff out of copper, not to be disparaging towards that element, but aluminum was my favorite metal to work with. Okay, what else did I want to talk about today? Hold on a second. I know what I wanted to talk about. Man, here it is. Again, a drawing. But check it out. All right. There you go. Now, this is not me, but we had overhead cranes in this place, and one day, these are 4 by 8 foot sheets of mild steel. Okay, so they're like 1/8 of an inch thick, and it was like a thick stack of them like this, with a dog clip over the top, like that you can pick it up. Okay, you're not supposed to use you're not supposed to use a dog clamp on multiple sheets. You're only supposed to use it on one sheet, because the middle sheets inside here are like a book without a binding. Those sheets are just going to slip out of there, and they were moving this across the shop, man, and they just dropped this whole stack of they just fell out of there like a stack of playing cards. If anybody had been underneath of there, it would have killed them. And so it was a miracle. So there was all kinds of dangerous shit going on in there. And then this is a whole stack of the steps that I was like welding this collar onto. See, there's the collar. There's the step, like on its back. I guess that's my welding table. So there was that accident. And then there was another accident that was completely my fault, driving a forklift. And I was picking up this stack of these steps that were on a pallet, probably like 25, 30 feet off the ground. Okay, I wasn't wearing a hard hat. The forklift I was working on had a roll bar over it, but luckily none of these steps fell through there and killed me, or they didn't kill the guy that was working next to me, because we didn't like clear the area or rope off the area like you're supposed to. And whoever loaded this pallet loaded it like a crack monkey, and they weren't secured on there. So I picked up this pallet and backed up the forklift, and fucking all these steps, all these stairs just fell off of the fucking pallet and just rained down onto the floor, man. So that's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me driving a forklift. It scared the hell out of me. And I realized just how little I knew about driving a forklift and how important it was, how important safety was. There's something that was completely my fault. Now, could I blame the dude that was there, who probably knew how shittily that pallet was loaded? I guess I could blame him. I was the son of the owner. He was an interesting dude, man. I felt sorry for him, really, just because he was the son of the owner. But he was just a little nerdy, you know? He was kind of nerdy, but interesting. Much more interesting than his father. But I kind of pitied him, because even people that wouldn't admit that they didn't like his dad didn't like his dad. He was just one of those people that a lot of people wouldn't even fucking admit it. So anyway, it feels good to be back in Carl. And I know I showed you my watercolors. I showed you my little tray and all my brushes and everything. And I promised you, again, that I wouldn't be showing you any more drawings. Well, you shouldn't have believed me. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm fucking wrong again. And I guess I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm more hurt than anything. And I won't let you down again. But, you know, again, I'd take that with a grain of salt. One of the things that I got to pick up today, and I think this is over here, what I'm looking for is ink that I've got all kinds of fucking shit that hasn't been packed up yet. Okay, look at all those brushes. I got a feeling that ink for my printer is over here too, which is, I love this printer. It's one of those Epsons with the 4 different tanks that you fill up. I'll tell you what, if you ever had a printer that had cartridges, you get one of these printers, you'll be in printer heaven. I bought this thing over a year ago, and I only put ink in it once. And I still have tanks that have hardly used any, and I print stuff almost every day in color. Got to get some really nice paper though for these prints, because I'm gonna sell signed and number ones on good paper that I can do at home. And I'll tell you what, I think I'm probably going to do 25 of each print, just because I don't want to have a bunch of them sitting around, but I can afford 25 sheets a week, you know, to have in stock. And I think once the channel gets bigger, again, I'd love to ask for your help. Subscribing and liking the channel really helps a lot. I don't know about the notification bell. Everybody asks about that. I don't like to get notifications myself, so I don't think that really matters if you do the notification bell. But one of the things that I would love for you to do, if you have time and you can do this, if you can share this, copy and paste the link on your Facebook page or your Instagram, or if you can put the link on your YouTube channel. Like I keep saying, I'm going to put Kristen's and Joseph's link on my YouTube channel. I haven't done that yet because I don't know how to do that. And you know what else I need help with? Like you can put like Cunard Cruise Lines. You can put like, what else are you going to talk about on the channel? Because I was watching this thing about CPM, which is cost per milli, versus RPM, which is what is it? Reserve per milli, revenue per milli. The cost per 1,000 views or whatever is what they charge the sponsor, the person, the ad that they're selling on your YouTube. The RPM is how much you get. Sometimes the cost is like $7 or $8 per for the person placing the ad, and sometimes the cost is only $1. So like same content, well, not the same content, same length of content, one person could be making 10 times what another person's making with the same amount of views. I found that interesting. And so it depends what market you're, are the people that are watching your channel, broke ass motherfuckers, or are they investors and people traveling on Cunard? So, besides selling expensive, valuable art and being able to talk to really wealthy people that'll pay $20,000 for a print, they do. They will pay $20,000 for a print. They'll make 50 prints. That's $1 million right there when they sell that edition out, and the edition sells out right away. That's crazy shit, right? Look up Ed Ruscha. The last print he did, Motor, $20,000 a pop. We'll talk about that later on down the road. Yes, I did. I worked there. I didn't work on that print, but I worked on some other good ones. Big fucking money. Okay, my prints are going to be like $100 a pop, okay? Signed and numbered. Help me help you. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of lost track of time today. I really did. But I need to learn some things about uploading. Man, that takes forever if you do it the wrong way. And it seems like sometimes I do it the right way and sometimes I do it the wrong way. I'm still looking for somebody to help me that's got digital marketing know-how and also website know-how and also just selling online kind of know-how. If you're out there and you want some money, I'll pay you to help me. Not like $100 an hour or something like that. Okay, I can only pay like maybe $20 an hour, $50 an hour. Depends on how long it takes you. If it takes you 40 hours to do an episode, I can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it myself right now, so it gives you an idea. Where my finances are. Pretty excited about this property in Portugal, though. If I get it, I'll post a link next week, I promise, or I'll at least have pictures of the property. I don't want to jinx myself. Right now, I'm in that stage where somebody offered them. Okay, it started out, it was 30,000 euros. Then a year later, they dropped the price to 20,000 euros. And then a couple weeks ago, somebody offered him 15,000 euros, and they turned it down. So I'm coming back. I'm going to ask them 17.5, and if they balk at that, I'm just going to pay them 20. I gotta have this property. It has fucking stone walls that are like this thick, granite, solid fucking granite. Okay, it's about 30 square meters, and it's just one room with a front door. Okay, so I'm gonna put a kitchen in. If I get it, I'm gonna put a kitchen and a bathroom and a living dining area that blends into the kitchen like a working kitchen, and then a private bathroom, full bathroom on the ground floor. And then right above the bathroom on the second floor, I'm going to put another full bathroom and a couple bedrooms up there, maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms. Small, but private. In case I got my sister over there visiting, because I snore, okay? And, you know, in case I get lucky and some Portuguese girl follows me home, she's probably going to want to have her own room too, because I snore. But I'm going to have at least 2 bedrooms so I can have company, and you know, I could probably sleep downstairs, or I'm going to have a wraparound porch and balcony on first and second floor. So of course the wraparound balcony on the second floor will shelter the first floor, because the floor will be the roof. So if it's raining or whatever, you could still sit outside. And the top one I'm going to leave open. That way, if you want to sit out in the sun, you got that. And I really hope I can get it. I'm ready to grow some cherries. I really am. I can't work much longer. It's just, you know, 52 jobs, you know, right? Nobody needs more than 52 jobs. And I still got a lot of art to produce, and I need the time to do it. And I need to get out there and market myself, and I guess I'm getting paid some real money, some folding money, you know what I'm saying? Man, I guess that's it. I'm going to call it. Again, I apologize. I want to promise you that next week this will be painted. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to promise you that this will be painted, and all the other back issues will be painted that I owe you. And yeah, I just realized these are windows back here. I really like the shape of the sheets of sheet metal, and the shape of the windows are the same. And there's a nice flow to this, and it'll be even better when I put those little swoosh marks in there, like this is traveling down the road here. I don't know who this fool is running the crane, but they're not crane certified, I know that. All right, man, I love you. Have a beautiful week. Be cool. Stay in school.
Surrounded by the bees, the birds and the breeze, his motor home in the woods where creativity seems. Sun will the boat, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, expressing all his strife with the spirits of the woods. He dances in the light, creating masterpieces every single